Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you guys had a good night tonight. I'm getting killed. Played Aaron Neesmith, so that's just fun stuff. But if you guys don't know who I am Shook. I make NBA DFS content. I also do sportsbook content as well. All these videos, they get posted to a subreddit. I'll have it linked down below. I make updates there with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions leading up to lock. Really important, especially for this slate, because it's a 15 game slate, guys. So there's going to be some haywire tomorrow. I'm probably going to have a lot of bets too. I can't imagine the type of volume I'm going to have tomorrow on bets, but yeah, that'll be linked down below. And then if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on X right here. I'll have that link down below. And then if you're looking for more in-depth content, I do core plays, sportsbook plays, private videos, player pools, a whole bunch of stuff. So I'll have that link down below as well. Let's go over my lineup from yesterday. I feel really good about how I played yesterday. Yesterday was really good. My core was kind of mid. It was Kuzma, it was Derek White, it was Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis had just the most letdown game without Giannis. But I feel really good. I guess Jimmy Butler was a core play for me. He wasn't in my player pool as a core play, but I told everyone in Discord I was gonna play him. So I guess unofficial core play. And yeah, round out my lineups with some really low on plays like Julian Strother, Kyrie Irving, Jimmy Butler, Sam Hauser. That's all you have to do. Play chalk that you think is good chalk. I thought Bobby Portis was good chalk. I thought Derek White was good chalk. I thought Jordan Poole was good chalk. And then you just get different in other places, right? Try to fade bad chalk that you think is bad. Understanding why these players are getting each of their projections. Understanding who's in a bad matchup and stuff like that. That's the chalk that I like to fade, is chalk and really bad matchups with flimsy minutes projections, right? And stuff like that. So really good day. My other lineup cashed as well. Instead of Jordan Poole and Kyrie Irving, it was Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, and then I forget. I didn't have Jimmy Butler in that because I didn't play Butler and Steph together. I forget who was the other player in that lineup, but both did cash, so it was a good day yesterday. Today I'm gonna get rinsed. Just really gonna be bad. I played Aaron Neesmith, if you guys want to know. So I'll show you guys my lineups tomorrow in that video, but we gotta get cruising. I can't go too in depth, obviously, because it's a 15 game slate. So I will tell you guys just who I like, who I don't like. And if I forget anything with rotations, because I studied all these teams' rotations before getting on here, so if I forget anything for starting lineups with teams that have been changing things, I'm just gonna pull a popcorn machine. We'll just go over it that way. All right, without further ado, yeah, let's get into it. Spurs of Boston, really bad matchup here for the Spurs. I mean, the good thing with Boston, if I recall correctly, they are pretty susceptible to pick and roll ball handlers. What does De'Aaron Fox and Wemby do good? Pick and roll, right? So I do have some interest in Wemby and GPPs, some interest in De'Aaron Fox and GPPs, but I don't think I'm going to be going out of my way to play either of them. I think Wemby's a good contrarian spin up. I think Fox is an okay upper mid-range play, but you have Donovan Mitchell there, you have Amin Thompson in a great matchup, right? Jalen Brunson against Atlanta. So I have a tough time prioritizing him tomorrow. I do think he's in play though. I would have him in my large field player pool. I'm not going to consider anyone else here. We're just going to have so much better value. So like I said, we're going to fly right through this, guys. Good spot here for the Boston Celtics outside of Porzingis. Jaylen Brown's questionable. Drew Holiday's going to remain out for this game. So if we get Jaylen Brown out once again, Tatum's just too cheap, man, at 9.9K. I know he had a stinker first half last game, but he did salvage. He was actually playing in the blowout, which is he's done that before. I don't understand it, but should play close to 40 minutes. This game should hopefully stay competitive. With no Jaylen Brown, he gets a significant bump. I think he'd be a great point per dollar play in the upper spend up mid range. Porzingis at 7.8K, kind of a bit of a tougher matchup, but she'll play low 30s minutes. I think 7.8K is price point to where I think he should be, but I still have interest in GPPs. I'd once again really like Derek White if Jaylen Brown's out. 4 performance last game, complete outlier. I think he'd be a really good play once again here. Peyton Pritchard would get a bump, but he's up to 6K, still in play, not a priority though. And then it really depends on do you forego potential later value to play a Sam Hauser or to play an Al Horford? I mean, I think it's risky, but they would be good point per dollar values if Jaylen Brown's out. Al Horford's playable regardless because he'll start with no Drew Holiday, but there's probably going to be a lot better value potentially opening up later. So you're going to have to make some tough calls there. I do think they'd be good point per dollar values. And then if Jaylen Brown's in, I'm not as excited about this team. I think Tatum would still be a good spend up. I think Porzingis would be in play. I'd not play Peyton Pritchard at that price point. Like I said, still think Al Horford would be a playable value, and I think Derek White would still be solid in GPPs, just a significant downgrade, and then I wouldn't play Sam Hauser. So let's fly right through this great matchup. Miles Turner going to remain out. I really like Thomas Bryant at 5K. He should be able to feast on this Wizards front court. I think he's a good point per dollar value. Back to back here, we'll see if anyone sits. Neesmith started the game tonight. He's not really playing much, but if he starts tomorrow, playable value. I also really like Siakam and Halliburton in this spot. This is just a great spot for what they do well. So I like both quite a bit. Siakam's on a tear tonight. I'm not going to mess with the value. If you get like Mathurin starting, it's a great spot for him. He'd be in my large field player pool if I were playing large field GPPs. But to get to like, this value here with probably some much better value opening up later, I think it's probably bad. Like Obi's in play. Neesmith, if he starts, is in play. I would like Mathurin if they move him back into the starting lineup, but I think the main interest here is just Halliburton and Siakam. All right, let's move on to Washington. So sorry, we got to keep an eye on if he's going to play. Middleton going to be out past the All-Star break. Same with Marcus Smart. So they're going to be in like the same situation they've been in the past couple days. So with that being said, okay spot here going up against the Pacers. I mean, it's mainly just Jordan Poole. I think Jordan Poole is just still too cheap. He should be an 8K player with the role that he has right now. He had a bad game last game, but his role has been really good. Should play low to mid 30s minutes. So liking Poole there. I think Koulibaly is just overpriced. Sarr, if he's out, you should get Rashawn Holmes and Vucevic kind of splitting the center position. I would much prefer just playing like a Thomas Bryant on the other side of this game. Malcolm Brogdon should see low 20s minutes. Don't love it. I think I'd rather go to like these Keyshawn George. Where's Bub? Is Bub out? Where's Bub? Bub's 5.3K. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't stand out at that price point. I think it's mainly just Jordan Poole and like some interest in like Keyshawn George, Bub Carrington, Vucevic. They'll probably play him around 20 minutes, a playable value, but he's priced up now. So I think the main interest there is just Jordan Poole, Keyshawn George. Moving on to Charlotte, some Musa. We'll see if he plays. He got hurt back-to-back games. If he's out, we'll see who they start at center. They probably start like Taj Gibson. Yusuf Nurkic is going to remain on a limit, but if he's in the starting lineup and we do get like over 20 minutes from him, I'd really like him for value. It's just like, how much is he going to play? I would feel a lot better if he's in the starting lineup, but he's going to be on a minutes limit regardless. Like I said, no LaMelo, so Miles Bridges is just going to dominate the usage here. Bad matchup going up against Orlando, but I still like him in GPPs. The problem is he's still priced up from when LaMelo was out. But guys I like here, I like Nick Smith Jr. quite a bit for value. I think he's a good value. KJ Simpson, I would assume, would start at the point. He's a really good value. Josh Green's playable. You'll probably see a bit of like Alfred Payton at the flat min price. He's viable in large field GPPs. So I think we have some good value here. I think this value is better than the value that we've already gone over outside of like Thomas Bryant. Moving on to Orlando, I would not expect Jalen Suggs to play tomorrow, so we're going to get, Cole Anthony starting. His minutes are going to be up in the air, so just a large field GPP play for me. Okay spot here. Charlotte's been tougher defensively of late, but Franz and Paolo I think are both solid in the mid-range. It's just you have all the other mid-range, so you have to make some tough calls. Goga Wondercard Jr. splitting the center position. They're going with the hot hand there, so it's hard to decide which one to pick on. If you run hot and get good minutes from Goga, he could nuke this price point. Same with Wondercard Jr., so I'd have them in my large field pool. I don't know what their perception of playing Anthony Black over 30 minutes a night. I don't get it. I'm not going to go there, though. Philly, Joel Embiid, back-to-back. I would suspect he probably sits tomorrow. So with that being said, if he's out, Tyrese Maxey I absolutely love. Paul George would be a great mid-range play. Kelly Oubre would be playable. The bigs I'd like here. Yabusele would be a good point per dollar play. Quentin Grimes started the games tonight. I'd really like him for value. He started over Justin Edwards. I would suspect that continues here. And then Andre Drummond, I believe, was the DMP tonight, but he'd get the backup 5, I'd assume. He'd be a good point per dollar value as well. Just large field though, I'd assume. All right, moving on. And if Joel Embiid's in, it's mainly just Joel Embiid for me. Moving on to Brooklyn, Cam Thomas going to remain out. Nick Claxton's questionable. If he's out, I would assume Day'Ron Sharpe starts. He would be one of the best value plays on the board. If he starts, they could start other guys. I don't know who else they'd really start, though. They could go small, I suppose, with like a Watford. Let's take a look. Yeah, they could go small with like a Watford, I suppose. Ben Simmons is going to be out, so like you're going to see a really, really good on-ball role for D'Angelo Russell. I do think Cam Johnson is just too cheap. Sixers have been struggling against catch-and-shoot stuff, so I do like both D'Lo and Cam Johnson. I do think they're both cheap. And then, yeah, if we get Claxton out and Day'Ron Sharpe starting, he would instantly shoot up to a phenomenal value there. And then Watford would get a bump at 3.9K. Main interest here, D'Lo, Cam Johnson, potentially Day'Ron Sharpe. All right, moving on to Cleveland. Good spot here for the Cavaliers. Max Strus is questionable if he is out. We should get DeAndre Hunter in the starting lineup. They could keep Hunter in the starting lineup, to be honest. We'll see. But with that being said, I mean, good spot here. I like the price point on Donovan Mitchell a ton. I really like Donovan Mitchell at this price point. I think it's just way too cheap. Really high on Donovan Mitchell. I think Garland's in play. Jared Allen should be able to feast on like Jonathan Mogbo. So I'm pretty high on Jared Allen in GPPs. Mobley, he's been extremely high usage of late. He is a ceiling. I don't mind that. Hunter, if he starts, sure, you can go there. Max Strus, I'm not going to get to. So pretty much it. Main interest here, Donovan Mitchell and the bigs. Toronto. So Brandon Ingram going to remain out here. RJ Barrett, I believe, and Jakob Poeltl will still remain out. I would suspect they're both going to be out here. If that's being the same thing, I know it's a really bad matchup, but IQ is just still too cheap. Mainly coming off his limit, he should be a 7K plus player with RJ Barrett out. So quickly, once again, looks fantastic. Scotty Barnes has a ceiling, but just not the best matchup here. I don't love Mogbo. I think Grady Dick's playable, but I think we'll just have so much better value. Same with Ochai Agbaji. All right, moving on to Atlanta. Trae Young is probable. Vic Krejci out. Larry Nance out. So should see a big solidified role for Karis LeVert off the bench. I like his ceiling in GPPs. I don't think anyone's going to play him tomorrow. I think Trae's pretty damn good at 9.6, just too cheap for him. Okongwu, Capella's been available, but he hasn't played. He's been a scratch. Just keep an eye on that. If he's out, it bumps like Okongwu and then Mo Guy, but like Guy didn't really play too much yesterday. I think it's mainly just like Trae Young here for me and some interest in like Karis LeVert. Moving on to the next fantastic spot here, back-to-back. OG's going to be out. I would suspect again here. Cat looks phenomenal. I absolutely love Cat at 9.4K. I really like Jalen Brunson. I think Josh Hart is very, very safe in the mid-range. Mikal is fine. Precious is playable. I think he's a solid point per dollar play. And you can't play Miles McBride on this slate. Just can't do it. All right, like I said, we're flying through these games. Great matchup, back-to-back here for both teams. Rematch here. Chicago getting blasted tonight. But I love these guys once again. I love Cade once again in GPPs. I don't care that Durham busted tonight. I think he's a really good center play tomorrow. Tobias Harris is playable. Also getting to the price point to where I think he should be. Just a large field play on this big of a slate. And then I'm not going to play like Tim Hardaway. I think main is just like top two guys. Kate Cunningham, Jalen Duren, I really like. And then moving on to Chicago, Lonzo, I would suspect, will be back tomorrow. So that's going to hurt basically all the guards here. If he is back, that hurts Ayo the most. I think Kobe White is still playable. Josh Giddey, the minutes are all over the place. Vooch is in a really great matchup. I'd really like him as a bounce back candidate after really busting tonight. And then Montes is priced right. So not much here. I think if Lonzo's out once again, I'd like the guards more, like Kobe White and Ayo, but not much here. All right, Sacramento, great spot here. I believe, did they play the Pels last game? Two games ago. So once again, I'm in love with Domantas Sabonis. The Pelicans are giving up like the most, I want to say like fantasy points to opposing centers. So I'm once again really into Domantas Sabonis here. I think DeMar DeRozan's a really good play. Zach LaVine, I like his ceiling. Malik Monk is playable. That's how I'd rank them. Jonas played alongside Sabonis last game. I don't understand that at all. I think that's mainly it. Mainly just interested in the starters here. All right, moving on to the Pelicans. C.J. McCollum, we'll keep an eye on if he is in or out. Last game, they went with starters of Zion Williamson, Trey Murphy, Missy Alvarado, and Carlo Matkovic. If we get Matkovic starting again at 4.1K, and if we get like mid-20s minutes from him, I do think he's a good value. So if he starts again, yeah, like him. Jose Alvarado, I would like quite a bit as a bounce-back candidate. He was in a really bad matchup going up against OKC last game. He was so much chalkier. I don't think anyone's going to play him tomorrow if CJ's out. So I would like him as a value quite a bit as a bounce-back candidate here. And yeah, of course, like Zion, firmly in play. It's just the minutes. They're gonna keep keeping it easy on his minutes. So I don't know if he necessarily has the ceiling to break the slate at that price point. I think my favorite plays here are definitely the value. Jose Alvarado, Carlo Matkovic, and you can throw some like Jordan Hawkins in GPPs. Bruce Brown's going to be available too as well. So he'll play his first game here. That's going to hurt like Hawk. Brandon Boston Jr. is out as well. So like you see more of Hawkins as well. All right, let's move on to Miami. Tyler Herro is questionable. If he is out, you're going to get starting lineup of Davion Mitchell, Alec Burks, Duncan, Andrew Wiggins. Wait. Duncan went to the bench, right? Did Duncan go to the bench? I believe. Yeah, Duncan went to the bench. So, Davion, Alec Burks, Chloe Ware, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo. So, if that happens again, really bad matchup. So, this is going to depend on if Miami is going to be somewhat popular tomorrow. It's really going to depend on that. If these guys are chalk, I would like to be way underweight to them. That being like Davion Mitchell, Alec Burks, Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo. It's just such a bad matchup going up against OKC. I think if, we get the same situation and Davion and Alec Burks start, I think they're fine values. I think they're going to go a little bit over-owned, though, is my problem with them. Alec Burks has been, like, a somewhat guy that can produce. My worry last game was the minutes. But, if we get similar minutes, I do think he's a good point per dollar value. I'd rather play Burks than Davion Mitchell. And then, Bam Adebayo gets a bump. Andrew Wiggins was good in his first game in Miami. And then Chloe Ware, really bad match for him. And then Jovic has been really good for this team of late. He'd get a bump as well. And then if Harrow's in, I'm not going to mess with anyone here. I think Harrow would just be fine. All right, OKC. Moving on to OKC. Chet Holmgren going to be out up against the Heat. Really bad matchup here as well. I think Jalen Williams is just far too cheap at 7.6. I don't know what we're doing here with the price point. So I'm suspecting he'll be really popular tomorrow. I think it's for good reason. So Jalen looks really solid at that price point. SGA at 10.8, good spend up. I think there are other spend ups I'd rather target. And then with Chet out, you should get Aaron Wiggins in the starting lineup. We do have Lou Dort back, but good match for Aaron Wiggins. Guy that's going to chuck from three. Miami's been susceptible to 3-point shooting, so I don't mind him. And then Lou Dort, I'm not going to mess with on this big of a slate. Same with the value here. All right, moving on to the Bucks. Giannis going to remain out here. Damian Lillard's probable. So, Dame looks fantastic. Don't care that it's against Minnesota. I think he's a fantastic spend up. I think Bobby Portis, still too cheap at 6.9K if you give him 30 minutes. He'll probably be really low owned tomorrow, so good bounce back candidate there. Kyle Kuzma, same thing, still too cheap without Giannis. She'll play low to mid 30s minutes. Another great bounce back candidate. Not as good of a play as he was last game. Same with Bobby Portis. Like I said, you have to remember they're priced up. They're probably going to be really low owned tomorrow. It's just a really bad matchup. So, what you could do, if they are chalky, I think you can come in underweight. I do think they're fine. I think they're probably going to be lower owned tomorrow, so I think they're good bounce back candidates here. I don't know if I'm going to mess with Taurean Prince, Gary Trent, etc., etc., etc. All right, Minnesota, Anthony Edwards questionable. He's been questionable. I suspect he plays here. He's been on a tear of late. Now you have a great matchup going up against the Bucks, so I think Ant looks incredible. Another great spend up for me. Nas had a really letdown game last game, but we know the ceiling he has. Better spot for him than it is for Bobby Portis, so I might prefer Nas to Bobby. I think Bobby's probably going to project a bit better, though. You could just decide on ownership, but I think both are similar plays. Rudy Gobert at 6.5K is just there for me. I think I'd rather play Jalen Duren. I'm not going to pay that price point for McDaniels. NAW's priced right. We could have Mike Conley back, so that's going to take NAW mainly out of play. And then if we get Ant out, Nas looks incredible. Rudy Gobert doesn't change me. McDaniels you can get to. Nas would be a good play. Rob would start if Mike Conley's out. He'd be a great value play once again. And then Jalen Clark will be a viable large field GPP play. Assuming Mike Conley's out, like I said. All right, really bad matchup here for Phoenix. Grayson Allen, it's a back-to-back. I could see him sitting tomorrow. We'll see, though. But Beal's going to remain out. So I'm pretty high on Tyus Jones as a value once again. I was really high on him tonight. Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, good point per dollar spend ups. Like I said, back-to-back. We'll see who's on the injury report for tonight. Could get some guys sitting here tomorrow. And I think that's mainly it. I think I'm mainly interested in Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant here. Don't love Nick Richards. I don't really like too much else. Oh boy, here we go. Probably one of my more favorite teams to target on the slate. Sengun, I think, is probably going to sit tomorrow. Fred VanVleet is, I believe, going to be out tomorrow. And then Jabari Smith is out. So if all these guys are out, we do have Tari Eason back. Starters should be Amen, Jalen Green, Tari Eason, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams. They went with Jeff Green in the second half last game after Alfred Sengun got hurt. But we do have Steven Adams back. So I would suspect that would be the starters. So Steven Adams, really good value at 4.4K. Tari Eason, really good play at 5.8K. Jalen Green, I like his ceiling. Amen Thompson, I absolutely love at 8.4K. I think Cam Whitmore is a good value. And I think that's mainly it. Dylan Brooks is playable. Now, if we get all these guys in, Fred Sengun, I think Sengun looks great at that price. Amen's still in play. Jalen Green's in play. We'll be less excited about the value here. Steven Adams would be able to play. Cam Whitmore would be able to play, etc., etc. But I think I would assume all these guys are going to be out for tomorrow. So I think you're definitely going to want some Houston tomorrow. All right, Lakers, this is just a headache. Luka Doncic is questionable. He'll remain on a limit. LeBron James is probable. Austin Reeves is probable. Christian Wood out. Dorian Finney-Smith out. Gabe Vincent out. So if we get Luka out, starters should be LeBron James, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jackson Hayes. Who am I missing here? Who am I missing? Sorry, guys. It's a lot going over a 15-game slate. Who am I missing here? Because they've been starting Dorian when all these before the trade. So they start like a connect, I guess. They have Jordan Goodwin here. He got some run last game. Gabe Vincent, I suppose, could move into the starting lineup. Where is he? He's out. So could be a Jordan Goodwin too at 4.1K. So like, if Luka's out, we know what to do. LeBron James looks fantastic in a great matchup going up against the Utah Jazz. Would be one of the better spin-ups on the board. Austin Reeves would be playable. I think Rui would be priced right. Now the big thing here is Jackson Hayes with no Dorian Finney-Smith. Dorian Finney-Smith, I believe, was playing some backup 5, so he gets a bump. And then yeah, I think Goodwin would have to play a bit. He'd be firmly in play at 4.1K. Dalton Connect would have to play. He'd be firmly in play. I don't know if I'm going to mess with like a Vanderbilt. And yeah, if we get Luka in, I can't get there on a limit. It kind of just hurts everyone else. Just keep an eye on it. If they start like a Goodwin at 4.1K, he'd be the best value play on the slate. I don't know if they do that though. They could just start Reeves at the point. Just keep it. He's going to have to play regardless if Luka's out though. Believe he crushed in blowout last game. But typically a really good point per minute, guys. Keep an eye on that. I'm going to look after this video on like beat reporter stuff if JD Redick was saying anything about Jordan Goodwin. All right, Utah, okay spot going up against the Lakers. Yeah, I mean, I like Call at 6K. I like Key at 6.2K. Clarkson has the ceiling. I think everyone else is just there for me. I think I'm mainly interested in the guards here. They're fine plays. All right, Portland, Ayton out, Scoot Henderson out. Jeremy Grant's questionable. We'll see if he plays. Robert Williams questionable. Huge news here. If we get Rob out with Ayton out, Klingon 4.6K would love. With Scoot out and Grant both out. If they're both out, I would assume starters be Denny, Simons, Kamara, Klingon, and one of Banton or Sharp. Whoever starts would be a fantastic value. Whoever comes off the bench would be a really good play. And then really like Simons at 6 point, really like Denny. So I'm really high on this Portland team tomorrow. Especially if we get Grant and Robert Williams out. If Grant plays, I still think with Scoot out, like Sharp and Banton, I still think Banton's a good value. I still really like Simons and Denny. So I'm kind of talking myself into a lot of Portland. I like this team quite a bit tomorrow in a good matchup. All right, Denver. I believe everyone's probably here outside of Michael Porter Jr. So if Michael Porter Jr. is out, Strother would get the start. He'd be a good value. And then Love Jokic, of course, if you can afford him. I think and Jamal's just too cheap still at 8K. So those are the main guys I like here. Whew, and then last game of the night, guys. Golden State at Dallas. I mean, I like Jimmy Butler a lot, once again. They're staggering Steph and Jimmy Butler. So whenever Steph is off the court, Jimmy Butler's going to be on the court. He's going to have that ball handling duty. So, yep, like Jimmy Butler quite a bit once again in GPPs. Steph Curry's solid. Draymond, I don't love anything else here. It's mainly the top two guys. So flying right through this. Dallas, this team just can't catch a break, man. Keep it on the PJ News. We'll keep it on starters. They could start Najee Marshall. They played some Najee at the 5 last game. They could go small. They could start like a Prosper. Do they give Kyler Kelly some runs? So it's kind of just hard to say right now. You're going to have to wait on starters here. But Kyrie Irving, not a good matchup going up against the Warriors, but I still like. And then, yeah, they're going to have to play some of these guys. So, like I said, Max Christie's been incredible, but he's priced right. Clay has a ceiling. If you're into that like Golden State narrative, sure. But like I think Najee Marshall, P.J. Washington's out, going to have to play a ton. I don't know what their obsession with Kessler Edwards is. I'm not going to play him though. I think you're mainly just going to see a lot of Najee, Max Christie, Clay, Kyrie, the main guys, and then keep an eye on the starters. Do they go? They can just start small against the Warriors. So I'd imagine just a lot of Najee Marshall at 5.3K. So I like Najee quite a bit. All right, that's going to do it for the slate, guys. Massive slate. Hopefully you guys had a great day today, and I will talk to y'all in the video tomorrow.